Show with Janice Murray.
KHTS. Good morning, Santa Clarita. I am Janice Murray, and we're here on the Nonprofit Spotlight Show, which is brought to you by KHTS Radio. We are here on your hometown station, AM 1220, and the new FM 98.1. I am so excited this morning. I've got an old friend here who has come to talk to us about the Michael Hoffland Foundation and the upcoming event, their Evening Under the Stars. I'd love to introduce Scott Schauer.
Hi, Janice. Thanks for having me today.
Good morning, Scott. Thank you so much for coming and joining us. And I'm not even going to say filling in for Jillian. I'm just going to shout out to Jillian. Hope that everything's going well in the office. But I know it's probably crazy busy right now because the event is coming up on September 22nd. So we're going to get into our conversation in the second segment about the actual event. But first, because you, I know, are really a visible community member. You've done a lot for a lot of different nonprofits in town. You've got your own business, very successful here in town. And I see you playing poker a lot on Facebook. I don't know what that's about, but I know you're successful at that too. But how did you come to be the chair of the 25th anniversary of the Michael Hoffland Foundation Evening Under the Stars event?
It all started about 20 years ago when I went to my first gala, and it was in a backyard in Sand Canyon.
I was probably there at that one. That was my first charity event, was Michael Hoffland in that backyard.
Right. And I just was really touched by the story about Michael Hoffland and that young boy with that big smile, and how he inspired both him and then his parents started the foundation. And I just, after that first year, I wanted to find out how I could help make a difference. So that's how I got involved. Started as a volunteer, ended up being on the board, filled in as executive director for a few years. So I've been involved. I've been involved for 20 years. Not so much in the recent years, but this is the 25th anniversary, so it's a big event, and I was asked in the beginning of the year if I would help out, so I thought I would give it one more shot and see if I can help make a difference.
Oh, absolutely. It's a wonderful organization. Now, we know that young Michael Hoffland suffered from pediatric cancer.
Right.
Was it?
Brain cancer.
That's what I thought. And the Hofflands and their family and community members decided that this was a way to honor him and his life, his short life, and to help try and support other families as they go through that walk. We all know there isn't today a family, a person, to a man that has not been touched by cancer, whatever type of cancer that is. And to see a child struggle, let alone lose their life, but struggle with cancer is really, really disheartening. And I think for you guys, I always said this, the first time that I went to that event, one of the things that struck me was my background being having gone to a ton of sports charity events, and they're always being just sports memorabilia. I was struck with what a cool idea to have a little something for everybody, some Western memorabilia, some movie memorabilia, some sports stuff, just home stuff. There's something for everyone at that event. The second thing, years after going to the events, when they started putting the big screen up and showing you the kids that they serve, I'm a wuss, and I cry at the drop of a hat. And that is one of those things you cannot help but be affected when you see where your money is going.
Oh, there's
and
no question.
I always tell nonprofits that Michael Hoffland set the standard to me for the way to do that. So when people, when you call and ask them to make a donation, people here in Santa Clarita want to know that their money stays in Santa Clarita. You guys put it on the stage. You put it on the screen. We know when we're donating our money which kids are in need, which families are in need. Now, I know there's a lot of things that you guys do behind the scenes with the Ronald McDonald House and the parties and the things like that. Can we talk a little bit about that?
Sure. I mean, it's endless what they do, and the whole goal of the foundation is to support the families and give them a little hope, help, and healing, and those are the three words that they use. And yeah, it is really emotional. I get emotional every time I get involved, and it's tough. But in 25 years, there's been 654 children that have been diagnosed with cancer.
That's one of the things I love. When you guys come, when any nonprofit comes and gives me stats, it makes it real. I always say, years ago, I had American Cancer Society come on the show, and it was myself, my guest, my engineer, and somebody else. And the lady said, every segment on the show was 5-minute segment. We have 6 5-minute segments, and she said every 5 minutes, 1 in 4 people get a cancer diagnosis. I could have fallen off the
Crazy,
chair.
right.
That stats make it real. Who could guess that 600 kids in 25 years?
And that's so tough, but even tougher for a child.
That's 600 times however many kids, siblings in the family, however many parents. That number is exponentially growing because cancer doesn't just affect the child or the patient.
The whole family.
The whole family.
And that's what the foundation does. It supports the whole family
Exactly.
with support groups. With when they first go to the hospital and they get diagnosed, there's a care kit that is provided, and then there's been, I think, I think it's over 1,400 care kits that have gone out. They provide all kinds of services for the family, support groups, fun family events, opportunities for these families and kids to get together and have a good time, and the kids to know they're not alone, which is awesome. All the way to memorial gifts. In 2013, they gave their 100th memorial gift.
Wow.
And that's just way too many.
It is way too many. But it's nice to know that when a family comes to Michael Hofflin as a client, they're taken care of from the beginning to the end.
Absolutely. And whatever we can do to help that child, and no child should ever have to fight for his life, and they are.
It's crazy, but it still exists. And 25 years later, you guys are bigger and better and moving forward and always trying to make people's lives easier. You've taken just the basic care, like you said, giving a care package when the patient gets the diagnosis, helping with the expenses, the drives to the hospital, the groceries, those kinds of things, providing fun outlets for the family and the siblings, because sometimes the siblings get ignored or get less attention because it's focused on the sick child. But you guys have taken that a step further and learned to celebrate the small victories. And I know that your Evening Under the Stars event has evolved to now not just showing those kids as cancer patients on the screen or having them on the stage, but now celebrating the ones who are having more birthdays once they've gotten their diagnosis and are now going on to high school, going on to college. Tell me a little bit about that.
That's another thing that's incredible about this foundation is they give scholarships at every one of these galas. And this year we're going to have one of the recipients of the scholarship who is now an attorney who was a child with cancer in the beginning when I was first involved. And
how neat is that for you to see that full circle?
I'm excited to see her come up on stage and just to share her story and how she had to fight and she beat the battle, and today she's a working attorney, and I'm looking forward to there's going to be recipients this year that are going to get scholarships. So there's so many positive stories that come out of this
absolutely.
also. Another big thing the foundation does is they do holiday baskets every year for every family.
Wow.
And I've been lucky enough to deliver some of those, and for some of those families, the stress that the parents go through, I mean,
financially, it changes everything for a family.
It changes their life. And for some of those, that holiday basket may be the only gift that they have for the holidays.
Wow.
And for others, there's other families that are a little bit more fortunate that finances aren't such an issue, but the gratitude from the families just when you deliver those baskets make it all worthwhile.
Oh, I would imagine so. And how many little personal stories, like you've got a parent who went through as a client and went through the battle with their child and then turned around to give back to the community because they know what you guys gave them is priceless.
Yeah, and then, talk about full circle. There's a woman working in the office right now named Deanne who has a child that was diagnosed, and now she's working part-time and helping out and working with the foundation. So there's so many positive stories out of this, and there's such a difference that the foundation has made. That's why I'm passionate about it, and that's what keeps me going and wants me to say, what can I do to help out?
Absolutely. So you, as a community member and now taking on this chairing the event, what's your role other than emceeing the event? What is your role now with the board?
Well, actually, I am on the board. I rejoined at the beginning of this year to help out, and I'm not actually the MC. Alex Michelson from Channel 11 will be the MC this this year.
Good to cheer.
I'm just kind of the behind the scenes, help out where I can, get some auction items, and help put it together. I'm a
There's no
small
such
part of
thing
a
as a
big
small
store.
part in this event. This is a huge event. You guys raise hundreds of thousands of dollars every year. This is a huge event, and every hand helps. I know Michael Hoffman has the foundation has paid staff, but a lot of the work that's done is through volunteering.
But a very small paid staff, and
Yes, of course.
and
As with all our
Jillian
nonprofits.
and Shawnee's been there forever as a great bookkeeper. Jillian, and then the two women that I think really don't get the credit that they deserve
Give them a shout out.
is Letty and Anita, who take care of every one of these families and meet with every one
That's
of
the
them.
hard part because that's the emotional part.
And meet with them at the hospital. Anita does such a great job at planning all of the family events, which there's many all year, from bowling to swim parties to Mount Asia to, I mean, they really go out of their way to make the whole entire family feel a little bit more comfortable. But Anita and Letty have been there for years and years. Jillian, as executive director, has her hands full with such a busy organization, and Shawnee does a great job also. So that's the entire staff. Right now, Deanne's in working and helping with the auction just on a part-time basis, probably till after the event.
I've done auctions for events. That's the worst and the hardest.
Oh,
You
no,
gotta
right
make
now
the
she has
ask
the
and,
hardest.
and collect the items and make the baskets and do the bid sheets. That's like
Put all the data
crazy,
in the
crazy
computer.
town.
It's
Yes.
endless, and our auction
And you guys,
is
your
huge.
auction is always beautiful. Every year I go, I take pictures of the bid boards and items because they're just so. Somebody puts so much thought into. You can tell it's ladies who are into crafting or scrapbooking because the bid sheets and the displays are just outstanding.
Yeah.
That alone makes you want to buy the gift. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
So there's so much work that goes into putting on an event like
People
this.
have no idea.
Oh,
and
no
it was started
idea.
in the beginning of the year.
And if you don't start the day after this event is September 22nd, if you don't start for next year on the 23rd, you know, that's what you have to do nowadays. It's crazy.
Yeah, and every business, and we've had so many generous donors,
Yes.
including the radio station here. And Carl and Jerry were a big part of the foundation when it first started. They were there in the beginning,
putting on the first event.
right?
Yeah,
And they were a huge part in making this happen. So it's a volunteer Santa Clarita community organization. There's not one or two or 10 people that make this happen. It's the hundreds.
It's
that
the
are
hundreds,
involved.
absolutely. We've got to thank everybody who's involved with it because when you go as a guest and you sit there and you just enjoy the evening, it's lovely. It's always a beautiful evening. You've got great entertainment, great auction items, just a great evening out wearing our garden attire this year. We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
But it's just I have to appreciate because I've worked on the background of a lot of events in town on other nonprofits. A guest has no clue what it takes to make that evening come off. And even if 100 little things go wrong, 99% of the time the guests don't have a clue. So you have to give a shout out to all the people that put so much heart and passion into pulling off an event like this. And to say this is the 25th year that you guys have been doing it is a testament to the quality and the caliber of the volunteers and your staff, and also the mission and the fact that this is one of those nonprofits. I hate to say it, but they're my heartstring.
Absolutely.
And you can't say no. So, it's in that regard, you hate that you have to keep doing this, and it's 25 years later and we're still doing this, but we're thankful that Michael Hoffman Foundation is here in Santa Clarita doing what they do to help our kids with pediatric cancers. What is the breadth of the cancers? Can you give me a list or an idea of some of the ones that they cover?
Oh, any cancer that a child we cover any. It could be brain, it could be leukemia, it could be there's stomach there's all kinds of cancers. And I don't think it's the type of cancer that's important. I think the important is if they're in the age group and they're in our community, we support them.
And what is that age group?
From
Birth
anything
to-
from birth to 18 years
18.
old, and then we continue to keep in touch with them for years after
Sure.
that. And there's, although there's the sad story of the ones we've lost, there's many survivors that have done amazing.
And we love those. We absolutely love those. We are here on the Nonprofit Spotlight Show. We're highlighting the Michael Hoffman Foundation, and we're talking with Scott Schauer, who is chairing the event this year. It is the 25th anniversary of their Evening Under the Stars. Is there anything else that you want to talk to us about the organization before we move into the event?
I think the one thing that we didn't talk about, and we can talk about it in one of the next segments, is the research. And
Oh no, let's.
And the foundation has given over $2 million to research.
Wow.
And because of that, there's although there's not the cure and there's not the fix, it's been advanced so much in the last 25 years.
If therapies are getting better and treatments are getting easier to manage, and some of these cancers are becoming like just a long-term illness instead of a death sentence, then you're doing whatever the research you're doing, it's helping.
And it's just a small part that, but it's so nice to know that we can go back and look at some of those research grants and some of those doctors that we started a fellowship with that you'll see in the program this year. I mean, we've supported doctors that are all around the United States now that are working for childhood cancer. So there's so many things. It's not just the family support, but the research is a big part of it also.
I felt that last year at the event, because I think like a table or two behind me, there was a family and the doctor and his family. And I don't think it was a local doctor, but it was a doctor that helped support the children's cancers. And you guys honored him, acknowledged him, and he stood up and I thought, wow.
And this year there's going to be
have the professionals, the doctors take the time to come to this event. That's huge.
And as I understand it, there'd be 3 tables of families this year. So and we always invite the families that we bring on stage. And also, there's going to be a table, as I understand it, of the oncology nurses from Children's Hospital. So
wonderful, because we know that 90% of the care that's given in the hospital setting is through the nurses.
And there will be a lot of doctors. In fact, this year our head table was purchased last year by Facey Medical Group.
Oh, nice.
And they're one of the sponsors, and one of the doctors from Facey is who bought the head table.
Wonderful. Well, they've got a lot of good things going on with that new facility they just opened in Canyon Country. So good for them, and good for you guys that you can garner that kind of support. That's the other thing I think about Michael Hoffman. You've been around so long that everybody knows you guys now, unfortunately, but you are getting the type of support and grants and things to help further your mission. So that is always
this community's grown so much, and there's so many new people that have come in the community that I don't think everybody knows about us. And
that's why you're here today, right?
I think there's a lot. Hopefully this will help, and hopefully our attendance grows a little between now and the 22nd, so we max out what we can do, because that's what we want to do, is max out the gala so we could max out the support we give to the families.
Absolutely. Well said. Well, we are here on the Nonprofit Spotlight Show. Again, like I said, we're talking with Scott Schauer, and we are talking about Michael Hoffman Foundation here in Santa Clarita and the 25th anniversary of their Evening Under the Stars event. It is a beautiful charity event. It is your major fundraiser for the nonprofit, and every year I look forward to going and just enjoying the music and the camaraderie, and the auction items are always just stellar, and there's always a plethora of items that suit everyone's needs. So I would suggest, I know that tickets are already online and you can go straight online to purchase them. I suggest you don't wait. I don't think there'll be any at the gate.
No, and you could call into the office at 661-250-4100, or you can go online at mhf.org and get the information you need.
Excellent. We are on the Nonprofit Spotlight Show, which is brought to you by KHTS Radio. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back and continue our show.
Why do people from all over Santa Clarita come to our spa in Canyon Country? Simple. They want the highest quality services at prices that everyone can afford. This is Rosemary from Beyond Harmony Med Spa. Read our reviews and know why we won the Ultimate Beauty Awards 2 years in a row by the readers of Elite magazine. Come and see how close we really are and experience the level of excellence that our clients have loved for the past 13 years. Go to beyondharmony.com or call 298-8008 today for a free consultation.
The Santa Clarita Artists Association is hosting our annual gala, the Art Classic, Saturday, September 29th from 1:30 to 5 p.m. This fundraiser highlights professionally judged original artwork by local artists in all mediums. For only $25, you can enjoy live music, wine, hors d'oeuvres, and meet the artists in person. The Art Classic will be held at Hart Hall in Hart Park. All artwork will be on display for free public viewing Sunday, September 30th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. For tickets and more information, visit us at santaclaritaartists.org.
Hi, Kirk Stinson here with Plumbing by Kirk, your hometown plumber. With another tip, close your sink drain and remove your expensive jewelry when entering the shower to avoid costly plumbing expenses. But if it does happen, shut off the water immediately and call Plumbing by Kirk. We invite you to visit our website for free plumbing advice at plumbingbykirk.com or give us a call, 263-6519. That's 263-6519.
My dad is the best plumber ever. Call Plumbing by Kirk.
Hometown, your hometown station.
Your Nonprofit Spotlight Show with Janice Murray.
KHTS. We are back on the Nonprofit Spotlight Show. I am Janice Murray, and we are here today by way of KHTS Radio. We're here highlighting the Michael Hoffman Foundation, and we've been talking with Scott Schauer. Scott is a heavyweight community leader here in Santa Clarita who's been involved with Michael Hoffman Foundation, was at one point their executive director, has been involved with a lot of fundraising and a lot of charities. But right now, the passion that you've got for kids with cancer and the Michael Hoffman Foundation is very, very apparent. And I'm excited sitting here next to you talking about this event because it is one of my favorites, the Evening Under the Stars event. Now, for years, like you and I mentioned in the first segment, it started in the backyard of some community family members, and Carl and Jerry Goldman had a big hand in getting things up and running with the organization to the point that it got so big that they had to start farming it out to, it was at Man Biomedical for years.
Right.
It was at what is now Sand Canyon Country Club.
Right.
And now you have a brand new venue.
Right, and the Hogans had it at their house for a number
that was the
of
very
years
first
also.
place. I had just moved to Santa Clarita, and some friends that lived there had invited me to come with them. And I was overwhelmed. I thought, oh, how cool is this? Because, as I said, I was always going to baseball-type charities where it was only baseball memorabilia. Had a house full of that stuff. Didn't want that,
Right.
This was so cool to see. Oh, there's somebody's autograph on a guitar. There's, some housewares. There's some decor. There's furniture. There's, cowboy memorabilia. There was something for everyone. And that endeared me to this charity event for some odd reason. And it just stuck. And it was in a backyard of some family friends who were a beautiful yard, beautiful place. And I just thought, how cool is this? At that time, I didn't know the background. I did not know the Hoffmans yet. I didn't know the story about their son. And that just endeared it to me even more because, as I said, as a parent, you know that your kids are your heartstring. And I just can't say no. And cancer, my mom and my sister were both breast cancer survivors. So that, just made it one of those things where you want to get out and you want to support. And then again, like I said in the last segment, you guys were the first event that I ever went to that showed me when I make a donation, where my money is going. Absolutely. Proof is in the pudding. I see those kids on the screen. I see them on the stage. And when you bring out the little baby girls with their little tutus and the little headbands, and they have no hair, and I just go, oh, my God, the wallet's opening up. And you guys have done a really good job of being very transparent, keeping the money here in Santa Clarita. And although, yes, you do work with outside organizations, UCLA, Children's Hospital, Ronald McDonald House, all of those, it furthers your mission and strengthens you. As we know, nonprofits here in town need to work with other nonprofits to be more successful.
Absolutely. And there's so many great nonprofits.
Absolutely. And we're not taking anything away from any of the other ones, by giving our money to one or the other, because eventually I think there's a lot of crossover. So this year, the Evening Under the Stars event is at
Valencia Country Club.
Valencia Country Club. It's going to be interesting.
September 22nd, and we're very excited. This is the first year we've had it at that venue, and
is it going to be outside under the stars?
It's going to be outside under the stars. They have a big driving range, and we're setting up the stage and truss and lighting and all that onto the driving range, and we'll have the big auction tent that we always have.
Good.
And it'll
you
be
guys
just
know how
as
to do it.
beautiful
You know how to do it.
as it's always been.
Of course. Now, last year, I thought I heard the numbers of attendees was like 500-600. I mean, you guys have a lot of people. And the nice thing about the event being on a golf course or being outdoors in a venue like this is you're not really tied down to any particular number of guests.
Well,
I know you want to keep it manageable.
We're kind of limited this year. I mean, we will max out based on the area that we have. We'll max out at 720, and we're reaching 600 right now. So
I knew that. I knew that.
It'll be close to maxed out. If anybody is interested in getting tickets, they
better
should
get 'em
call
now.
right away. And it's first come that order their tickets is where we place their table, and they can order tickets on the phone at 661-250-4100, or they could go on the website mhf.org. The office is full of volunteers right now that are signing up people daily, and we're looking forward to whoever is there is going to be a great number. And we've had
if you already got 600, it's solid.
Well,
that's a party.
For me, it's never enough, and there's so much need, and I wouldn't be until we're maxed out. I'm not happy.
You're not happy. Well,
I just want a little bit more, and only because I want a lot more for the families.
I love that. Love that. Now tell me, because like I said, I've been over the years, and there's always this is just really a fun, even though it's a sad situation talking about children's cancers, you guys make it a party, and it's always a wonderful event. And part of that is your entertainment.
Absolutely.
You guys have some really, really great musical entertainment.
And I think the idea is the entertainment is a way for us to thank the guests for coming, for supporting, for opening up their wallets. And I think it's just the way that we end the evening. And the entertainment that we've had has been amazing, from Air Supply and Foreigner and Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah.
I mean, we could go on and on with
Somebody's got
Dave
good
Koz.
contacts on your board.
And this year we're real excited to have Kenny Cetera, who was one of the singers from Chicago, and he has a band that plays all Chicago music.
Cool.
It's called Chicago Experience.
So you're going to take me back to high school.
Absolutely. And I think every year that's what it is.
I know.
With some of us that are getting up there a little more in age, it brings us back to where we were when we were kids again.
Yeah.
And I think the entertainment is always a big highlight at the evening, and I think that's just one way that the foundation says thank you for supporting these kids.
Now, last year or the year before, you had like the little martini bar, or you had some special kind of cocktail?
There was a martini bar a couple years. This year there won't be a martini bar, but there will be beer and wine and a great meal served, and it'll be a first-class event like it always is.
Is the Valencia Country Club Kitchen doing the food?
Is doing the food. They're going to be doing the serving. They're taking care of all the catering. And in the past, Salt Creek Grill was a great sponsor and always a huge help, and we'll miss them this year. But going to a private facility, we need to use the food from them.
Yeah.
But Greg has always been great to the foundation.
Absolutely. And it'll be, like you said, it will be lovely. It will be wonderful. And I have to ask, but I think I know the answer as a person who's done auctions for a large event. I would be in my chair going, please, I don't want to see another thing. I don't want to touch another basket. But I'm going to ask the question. If there's a business or person who has something that they would like to donate for the auction, is it too late for that?
No, it's never too late.
I knew you were going to say that.
We always want to get it earlier because there's, as you said, the volunteers prepare it and make it so beautiful.
So many details that have to go into that.
Right. Yeah. So, no, it's not too late, and they're getting items every day now. The live auction is going to be incredible.
Can you tease? Do you know some of those items?
I know most of the items.
Do you?
I mean, I'm a sports guy, so some of the sporting opportunities are exciting to me. There's a suite for the Lakers.
Cool.
There's a suite for the Kings. There's a suite for the Clippers. There's a road trip with the LA Galaxy where you'll fly with the team to Minnesota and stay at the team's hotel and go to the game.
Oh my goodness!
Which is
that's amazing.
Which is an amazing trip.
I love those one of a kind of packages because you're never going to get that. You're never going to get that opportunity. The average Joe is never going to get that opportunity.
But there's been some beautiful jewelry, a beautiful diamond necklace,
course.
beautiful diamond ring that's been donated. There's all kinds of trips. BMW is a major sponsor, and we're going to have use of a BMW.
You guys did that before.
Another unique item that I would be, although I really don't need it because I don't travel and work, but there's one donor that gave us, he has a mobile office with a computer and a desk in the back of the van.
Different.
And that also comes with a driver for 3 days. So for somebody that travels around for business, I think that's a great opportunity. That's a rare opportunity to have something like that. But I mean, houses in La Quinta, houses in Mammoth, houses Arrowhead. I mean, it's incredible, some of the auction items. And everyone, Cabo between Christmas and New Year's in a suite.
Nice.
That Kevin Malone has offered many years.
You have to tell him I said hello.
Right.
It's been fun. The years that I've gone, I always find something that I want, and then you start doing things that I just can't resist. Like, you added women's clothing and purses, and like you said, the jewelry, and there's really something for everyone.
Absolutely.
At the Michael Hoffland Foundation Evening Under the Stars. So again, we're going to tell our listeners, if you are interested in supporting a wonderful cause of children's cancers, and you want to go to this event, you need to call or go online and get your tickets now, because there's probably 150 seats left, and those are going to go real quick.
And hopefully they do, right?
Of course,
right.
Of course. And I'm sure this is going to be as successful or even more successful as you've had in the past. So we are here talking with Scott Schauer. He is the chair of the Michael Hoffland Foundation event that is coming up on September 22nd. We've got about 10 minutes left in this segment. So what else about the event do you want our listeners to know, or is there anything else that we don't want to forget?
You know what? I think we've covered a lot of it. I think there's a lot of things to know.
I'm impressed that you had a lot of the stats and the data that I'm the kind of person that wants to know that kind of stuff.
I think that's probably the one thing that the community really needs to know. Maybe we can go over some more of the details of what they do for the families, because that's the important thing. That's why we're there. We're there for the party, and we always enjoy the party, but our main purpose and why I'm passionate about this foundation is because what it does for the families. And there's additional things that maybe we haven't talked about.
Okay, so I'm a parent, theoretically I'm a parent, and have noticed some things in my child that just don't seem right. I take them to the pediatrician. The pediatrician says, let's run some tests. I think we need to forward you over to one of the Children's Hospital to talk to some specialists, and boom, Black Friday, you get that diagnosis. The worst day of any family's world.
No parent is ever prepared or ready to deal with that, and that's one of the things that the care kit provides. Inside this care kit, which is a backpack that is full of everything you might need, that when you're taking your child for a doctor's appointment because they have a fever,
you didn't think to bring his pajamas or his toothbrush or his
everything
slippers.
There are thongs in there for when they need to take a shower. There's a blanket in there
flip-flop
for the
thongs,
kids.
Ladies, flip-flop thongs.
Right. Oh, yeah. Thank you for clarifying that. I'm happy. This is children's cancer.
This is children's cancer.
I mean, there is all kinds of that's what they were called when we were kids, so maybe they're different today. But there is everything from toothbrush to mouthwash to gas cards to parking cards to everything that the family. There's a notebook with resources for who to call and doctors' information and information about the foundation. And we want nothing from the families. All we want to do is give to them. People, I think some people are suspicious. What is, what do they want from me now? I have this dreadful diagnosis that came up with my child. There's nothing we want. We just want to give.
Let me ask this.
That's what that care kit does.
How does that parent, that family know, are the care packs already at Children's Hospital?
Yes.
So they have a supply, so when someone comes in,
they have a supply, and
they have your brochures and information about Michael Hoffland if anybody right then wants more information.
Right. And
Good.
when they're diagnosed, one of the nurses contacts the foundation.
wonderful.
They know the area of which we support, which is more than just the Santa Clarita Valley.
sure.
I mean, if there's a child in Antelope Valley or the San Fernando Valley, or there, we serve families, not only Santa Clarita Valley, but surrounding communities. So
Wonderful.
So they get in touch with the foundation, and then the foundation gets in touch with the family, and there's quite the approval process, and there's a lot of HIPAA laws that we adhere to all of them, and so then after that, that's when the care kit goes to the family, which is usually in the day or the next day that they're there. But I think that care kit is huge, and at the next break, I'll let you know how many care kits have been handed out, and there's been a lot of them.
He's going to Google it and get some
No,
information.
I have it written down. I just don't want to try to find it in all this writing.
At the break, we'll find, because I am curious. That's big. Now, who puts those care baskets together? Your staff? You get those donations?
Everything is done by volunteers, and
Wow.
Sue Hoffland really heads it up quite often, and since I've been I've been spending Tuesdays at the foundation working on this, and quite often she comes in with her crew and says, you got to clear me some space because we're making care kits.
To do it.
So Sue Hoffland, and there's a handful of women that assemble them, and then Letty Garcia, who works for the foundation, she takes them down. She meets with the nurses. She also meets with every family, either on the phone or in person, and so it's a group of many volunteers. We try to have paid staff do minimal work, and we try to not minimal work because they're swamped and they do tons of work, but whatever we can get volunteers to do, we have volunteers come in. And Sue Hoffland and the Hoffland family, they are all volunteers. None of them are paid staff. The only ones that are paid are the executive director, the bookkeeper, and the two women that take care of the families.
Wow. So you're keeping those extra cost low so that the money that's raised can go towards the patients and their
many
care.
of the items in the care kits are delivered. Are donated. As
Wonderful.
far as the blankets that go in there have been donated for a lot of years, and there's a lot of items in there that are donated.
Good. Well, that makes me feel good, because I just can't imagine the cost of doing that. But as you said, that's something that's essential. I remember when my second child was born. My first one. I'm sorry. She was preemie, so I had worked out that morning, and I had no intentions of going to the hospital, and felt a little weird. Water broke and didn't know what that was, and went to the hospital with my purse. And my husband was out of town. I went to the hospital with my purse, and they kept me. I had nothing else. So and I stayed for 2 weeks. I held her. Yeah, I didn't deliver her until I was trying to get her closer to 35 weeks. So I understand what that's like, not having. And then I think I had my phone. I hope I had but to have.
So you can imagine what a
basic
family
essentials.
goes to, and they're meeting just for a doctor's appointment, and they may not leave the hospital for weeks or sometimes months.
I get that. So that I can appreciate. No matter what's in that bag, it's something that they didn't have that they're obviously going to need, because you guys put the thought into what are the common things that someone would need if they have an extended stay.
Right.
Gotta love that.
Yes, no, the
That's
care kits
huge.
are a big part of the starting of the process of what they can do, and then it goes to family support group meetings and the
Support for the families and the kids, or just
the entire everything they do there, they do for the entire family.
Okay.
As you said earlier, when a child is diagnosed with cancer, it just doesn't affect that child. It affects the parents in big ways, not only the burden of having a child with cancer, but the financial stress that it put. Quite often, and in this community, there's a lot of mom and dads that both work, and that has to change sometimes. And
it has to change the dynamic in the family. Like I said, the siblings, their dynamic and relationship with the parents one-on-one has to change, because the focus is now on the child that's
Absolutely.
sick. The relationship between those siblings and that child has to change, because there's got to be some fear about, oh my God, he's sick, what's going to happen? I don't know. Is he going to die?
Right.
There's just a lot financially, emotionally, psychologically, a lot of changes that come with that diagnosis.
I had 3 brothers, and I know I had one brother that had an incident, and all of a sudden all the attention went to him, and the 3 of us were kind of set to the side. And I had 2 of the greatest parents ever, but their focus was on the one that was sick.
As it should be. So Michael Hofland Foundation has acknowledged that and looks to support the entire family and to, like you said, what were the 3 H's?
From birth, the 3.
Hope.
Hope, help, and healing are the 3 words that I think define this foundation the most. I mean, they asked me to do a little talk at the event, and that's the first thing that came to my mind, is that because that really sums up what the foundation does.
Absolutely. We know that you guys, as we said, do the care kits. We know that you have the support groups. We know that you guys do fun, hope-filled, family-friendly events for the family multiple times during the year. Amusement excursions, parties, birthday celebrations, those types of things. You do the Christmas baskets. Is there anything else that we are leaving out?
The holiday baskets, I think one of the things that's one of the sad parts of this foundation is the memorial gifts, which every family that loses a child, there's a substantial amount that we give to the family to help with the funeral expenses, or for some of them it might just be to take their family on a trip and reunite the rest of the family, and every family does something different with it, and that's one of the sad things about the foundation, but one of the things I'm grateful for, that we're able to help these families that are dealing with something that I could never even imagine. I mean, I have 1 son and 2 grandchildren, and we've been blessed. They haven't been sick or ever had to. I couldn't imagine if they had to go through what some of these families have to go through.
So it's a natural progression, I think, and it's a blessing that you guys have thought that through, that you need to be there from the beginning. If you're going to support, you need to be there from the beginning through the struggle to the end, whatever that is. And if it's not,
it never ends.
If it's not a memorial, it's a scholarship or a potential for a scholarship to help that child further his education. And that's a positive.
Right. And I've delivered many baskets to families that, maybe they've lost a child, and we still provide them with a holiday basket to let them know that somebody's thinking about them.
So once they're in the Michael Hofland family,
once they're in, they're always in.
Oh, that's lovely.
And they really go out of their way to make them feel. I don't know. I just admire Chris and Sue Hofland and how they meet and get to know all of these families, and they're touched, and they want to do whatever they can do to help every one of them. Is that right?
Yeah, they're great people, amazing family, and your heart goes out to them. But my respect for them is even bigger, that they could take something that was a negative, a bad time in their life, and turn it into such a positive to help so many other people.
And I think what they've started magnified to hundreds and maybe even thousands of us that want to do our little part to help out. And it's something that was even started when Michael was still with them. And I just admire their hearts and what they want to do. And there's no end to what they're willing to do to help a family.
Wow. You guys, I know this is going to be the September 22nd event. Evening Under the Stars is going to be a very, very successful event to help further their mission in this cause. We're on the Nonprofit Spotlight Show. We're here by way of KHTS Radio. That's where I work. Yeah, I still do after 15 years. Sometimes it gets, We are going to take a quick break. We'll come back and wrap up our show.
Little Eye Leaders is the newest preschool in the Santa Clarita Valley. At Little Eye Leaders, our outstanding teachers lead with intellect, perspective, and heart. That means our programs provide a warm, nurturing atmosphere to meet the unique needs of each child. We believe that play is a powerful form of learning for young children. That's why our kids have every opportunity to learn through the magic and excitement of play. Parents, schedule a tour today by calling 303-0400 or online at littleeyeleaders.org.
I've always been driven to serve our country and our community.
Congressman Steve Knight.
I served in the United States Army and spent 18 years as an officer with the Los Angeles Police Department. I ran for Congress because too often I saw people forgotten by Washington. The crisis at the VA exemplified a bureaucracy that was out of touch and hurting real people. As your congressman, I'm committed to making our government in Washington work better for you.
My name is David Brayton. I am an Air Force veteran. 10 years ago, my doctors told me that I had to have a double lung transplant. It was a massive uphill battle to get the VA to do what they said they were going to do in the first place. Finally, Steve Knight got involved, and if it wasn't for Steve Knight's assistance in this thing, I guarantee you I'd be dead. Steve Knight is a veteran, and he's LAPD on top of it. I'm voting for Steve Knight because he gets stuff done for us.
I'm Steve Knight, and I approve this message.
Hey there, it's Tori with your hometown station weather. Mostly sunny this week with highs in the low to mid 90s. Overnight lows in the mid to upper 60s. Summer is still kind of hanging around. For everything SCV related, go to hometownstation.com or check us out on social media. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at KHTS Radio.
Hometown, your hometown station.
I just like the variety of music.
KHTS.
Nonprofit Spotlight with Janice Murray.
KHTS. We're back on the Nonprofit Spotlight Show. I'm Janice Murray, and we are here by way of the best radio station in Santa Clarita, KHTS Radio. We're here on your hometown station, AM 1220, and now FM 98.1. We've been talking with Scott Schauer. He is the chair of Michael Hoffman Foundation's upcoming 25th anniversary Evening Under the Stars event. It is one of the most unique, exceptional, successful charity events in town, and it is going to be held this year at Valencia Country Club on September 22nd. So today's like the 9th or 10th, something like that. Not a lot of time. And Scott, you shared with me in the last segment, you guys are already, your numbers are getting up there. Some 600 plus tickets have already been sold.
Between 500 and 600. I'm not sure what the final number is today, and a lot came in this weekend, I would assume. So,
but your goal is 7.
Well, our goal is what we'd max at, and at this facility that we're at, the most we could possibly get is 720. Wow. So
that's exciting.
That would be awesome if we hit that, and whatever we hit will make a huge difference for these families.
Absolutely. And all the money raised from the evening go towards the support services that we talked about in the last segment. The care kits, the support services, the parties and
gas
family
and groceries
things.
And family support is probably the majority of it, and whatever we can do to help the families. And we've talked
the
a lot about
the scholarships, all of that.
Right. And we talked about the care kits, and at the break I looked up the number, and to date, and it's probably not right because this was a week ago, and Letty, who's always running back and forth to the hospital, may have taken more, but there's been 1,554 care kits delivered to families that have been referred to the foundation that we've given to the families.
Wow.
Which is an amazing number.
Yes, it is. My head swims.
Right, and it's 1,554 more than should have ever had to go out, but thank God that in this community and with the support of Santa Clarita and the fine donors that make this event happen, they're able to do that, and they will continue to do that.
Absolutely, and thankful that you've got support, ladies and men who are willing to donate to get those items, to be able to put them together, and just know that is huge. Like I said, I've been on the other end where I was at the hospital with nothing but my purse and maybe my phone, and had to stay for 2 weeks. Couldn't go back home.
So you can really relate to
Could
how
not
much
go
that
back
care
home,
kit
not in
does.
my state. So I
Right.
understand that. That's brilliant that someone thought of that, and that's the biggest hug I think you could give a family when they're going through that darkest day. And then that is, to me, your best calling card. That is the way that that's the first impression people are going to have of you.
Absolutely.
And you know what they say about first impressions? That's huge to me.
And then it continues after that. It's not like, here's the care kit, now go ahead and take care of yourself. It's, here's the care kit, and here's who we are, and here's how we can be there to help you.
Exactly.
And it's kind of endless, the support that the foundation gives. And I look back almost 20 years ago, Chris and I visited a family that had a daughter that was diagnosed with cancer in Stevenson Ranch, and the family was very close to losing their home.
Oh, wow.
And that was the first grant given to a family and saved them from losing their home. And they still are involved with the foundation today, and thank God that she survived and she's doing great, and the family's doing great, and the parents got back on their feet. So there's a lot of emergency support that goes on that's behind the scenes that obviously isn't advertised, or but it's something that with those
you
funds
in your
they
heart,
can do.
you guys know that
Absolutely.
you're doing everything that you can to help these families get through this period and make their quality of life for that child and for the family as good as it can be until they get to the other side of this.
And it's not just the board of directors or the donors or their supporters. I mean, this has taken hundreds and hundreds of volunteers. And recently in the office, there's a volunteer that's there that just really impressed me, because she's not just a volunteer, she's a huge supporter, a huge donor. And Mrs. Blowers makes a lot of those beautiful
She's
boards
talented
that you
beyond
were talking
talented.
about.
Yeah.
Every day that I'm there, she's there picking up more and delivering the finished products. And but it's not just her. I mean, the ladies in the office, and just a few, and I can't. I wouldn't be doing justice, so I couldn't name it all, but some that have been there since the beginning, the Lisa Kaminsky, Alice Reynolds, some of these women that are in the office every day that I'm there, and I'm only there one day a week. And again, I'm only doing a small part of this huge event, but these women are there every day, and not to mention the 4 on the staff that are overwhelmed with all that they need to do to make this great event happen.
You can't have an event like this be successful if you don't have a lot of hands, and you don't. And I know that you guys have volunteers that come back every year because of this is their favorite event, and that's just what they want to do. Maybe that's their way to give back. They can't donate the money, or they can't go visit the family, but this is their little part. And that's, I always say, your time, your talent, or your treasure, those are all just as valuable.
And
so
for
we want
many
to
of them, they do all three.
Exactly.
There's some sponsors that started sponsoring 25 years ago, and they've been regular sponsors ever since. And I hate to start mentioning them, because this year there's 30 or 40 of them, and I don't want to leave any of them out. But they've all had a big part in the foundation.
But if you want to know who those sponsors are, if you want to know who those volunteers are, and see the beautiful work that they've done to put this 25th anniversary Evening of the Stars event together, buy a ticket. Support Michael Hoffland Foundation. Know that your donation is going to go to a good cause. I didn't ask, what is the value of the tickets this year?
There's
different levels?
There's different levels, starting at $200 a seat up to, I believe, $375. We have many sponsors.
Any tables to sponsor that?
There are tables, and tables are of 10, so you could multiply that by 10 if you'd like to have a table just for yourself.
Your company or your friends.
And many sponsors we already have, and it's not too late if somebody said, hey, I'd like to sponsor.
Good.
And that sponsorship starts at $5,000. And there's over 20 of those sponsors right now, and there's room for another 10 or 15 more if anybody wants to call the office at 661-250-4100, or they could go onto the website at mhf.org. Shawnee's always there to answer the phone, and she'd be happy to take a credit card and get you a reservation.
I have to say one thing. You've made my job today so easy, because you and I you just fill in where I was thinking, what else do we need to say? You've got it. I want to thank Jillian for sending you, asking you, pressing you, however it came about that you became my guest today, because you did an amazing job. I appreciate it. I didn't know how much background you would be able to give me, but I could have stayed home and you could have done it yourself.
Well, I don't know about that. You make it real easy. I think you do a great job at what you do.
Thank you so much, Scott. We are here again on the Nonprofit Spotlight Show talking with Scott Schauer about the upcoming Evening Under the Stars gala event on September 22nd at Valencia Country Club this year. Different venue, still going to be amazing. Michael Hoffman Foundation's got a good chair in you this year.
Well, thank
I
you.
know it's going to be quite successful. And I think that we are at the top of our hour. We're going to have to get everybody caught up with their national and international headlines. So please remember, we're here every Monday on your hometown station, AM 1220 and FM 98.1. Have a good day.